Good morning, threes class. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're all having a wonderful week this week. The weather has been beautiful. I hope you're out there enjoying it, doing a little gardening, having fun, running around, just being yourselves. I miss all of you. Can't wait to get back and be with you again. I know I say that every time, but it's true. I really do miss you. Today I want to talk a little bit about the different parts of a flower. So I've done a little drawing for you, and then I've got some flowers that I'm going to show you the anatomy on the actual flowers, and then I'm going to read a little book for you. So let's turn around and get started with the parts of a flower. Now I have borrowed Jubilee's easel today to show you this, do a little drawing for you. This is a very basic image of the different parts of different flowers. Now each flower is going to look a little bit different, but each one of them is going to have all of the same parts. They're all going to have their stem. The stem is where all the nutrients come up from the roots and the ground into the flower. They all have these little tiny green leaves at the bottom of the flower. Those are called sepals. They help protect the base of the flower and keep it from breaking off. We have the petals, which I know you guys all recognize the petals. They're the really beautiful part that have the different colors and the different shapes that we all enjoy. Now inside the flower, you've got two main parts, this pistil, which is this part here, and the stamen, which are these four. I've only drawn four, but flowers can have many, many of them. There's no limit to how many they can have. Now the stamen produces pollen. And a lot of times where you're going to see pollen is if you look really closely at honeybees or other kinds of insects, they're going to have pollen on their legs. Flowers use these insects, especially the bees right now, to get their pollen from one plant to another, because flowers need pollen in order to make a seed. When the bees come buzzing around and they're getting in here, they're all trying to get the nectar that is down in the flower. Bees use nectar to eat and to go back and take to their hive. So while they're buzzing around trying to get down in here and get the nectar, the pollen from the stamen is going to collect on their legs. And when they get done with this flower, they're going to buzz on off. But then they're going to come to another flower. And while they're doing the same thing, while they're trying to get the nectar, some of that pollen from other flowers is going to fall off of their legs and drop down into the pistil. And it's going to come all the way down to the pistil, and it's going to pollinate the seed. And once the flower then fades, the seed will grow and it will either blow away or fall off or germinate right there. So that is how flowers reproduce. And that's why honeybees and other insects are really important. Actually, a lot of birds help pollinate also, especially hummingbirds do a wonderful job of pollinating. So let's go over here to some flowers that I picked, and let's see if we can find these different parts on some actual flowers. Okay? Let's start off with, why don't we start with the azalea? Saw some azalea, we helped press some azaleas earlier in the week. Nice pretty azaleas. So these are off of a bush, so they have more of a branch that they're coming off of rather than a stem. But if we come in close here, you can see we do have the branch or stem. Right here we've got the sepals. Those are the small leaves that protect the base of the flower. If we kind of turn the flower now, we can look down inside there. And inside there you see this first one, this is the pistil. So this is where the pollen is going to go and fall down in it to make the seeds. But if you can, it's a little hard because this has all the same color inside of it, but there's some small little stamen around the base of this pistil. So that's the azalea. Of course, we have the petals all around the outside. And the petals use their color and their scent to attract different insects and animals. Next, let's pull out these. These are just a nice wildflower from my garden. They're in the daisy family, but I'm not sure exactly what type they are. This is a very different style of flower. It's a flat disc flower. So again, we have the nice long stem. And if we come over here, you can see up underneath there, right in here is going to be the sepals around the base of the flower. Turn the flower again. This one has bunches and bunches of petals around the outside. Very small, kind of wispy petals. And then if you come in on these, you can actually see the pollen pretty clearly, the yellow part in the center. Each one of these little almost hair looking things with the yellow on it are the stamen. This one has a different kind of a pistil. The pistil is under the stamen in this, and it's in small little holes all around here. So this one has lots of pistils and lots of stamens. And as the bee comes over and takes his little nectar from it, some of the pollen comes off of these flowers onto him, but some of the pollen from the other flowers goes into these so it can reproduce. The last flower that I have is a lovely bearded iris that just started blooming yesterday. These are some of my favorites. This particular variety I really like because it smells like grape soda, which is pretty unusual. These have very elaborate petals, under petals and over petals, and even some interior petals here. On each of the 3 lower petals of the bearded iris, there are these, again, little hairs that start on the outside and go into the flower itself. And you can see the yellow on the top. So that is all of the pollen on the stamen. If I can lift up this inner petal, I don't know that we're really going to be able to see in there, but way down deep inside here is where the pistil will be. So the bearded iris has it deep inside so that the bees will have to crawl over all of the pollen to get down into it. So it means that they get a lot more pollen on them. And then they fly away and they distribute it to the other flowers to help them grow. So these are 3 different flowers, all having the same anatomy, the same parts. Let's come over here. I'm going to just read a nice book. This is a book that I actually got, I believe, the year I was born. So this is an old book. It's holding together a little bit still. This is called In a Spring Garden. It's edited by Richard Lewis, and the pictures are by Ezra Jack Keats. Now, an editor is different than an author. The author writes the words. In the case of an editor, the editor takes the words that an author has already written and either looks over them to make sure there's no mistakes, or they take things that have been written by different authors and put them together. And in this case, it's a series of small poems. So Richard Lewis, as the editor, collected a bunch of poems that have to do with the spring garden. So let's see how it goes. In a spring garden. A red morning sky. For you, snail. Are you glad about it? Grasshopper, do not trample to pieces the pearls of bright dew. The frog is having a staring match with me. The toad, it looks as if it could belch forth a cloud. I've just come from a place at the bottom of the lake. That is the look on the little duck's face. A day of spring in the garden, sparrows bathing on the sand. Oops. The chicken wants to say something, the way it's using its feet. Voices above the white clouds, skylarks. A flash of lightning, the sound of dew dripping down the bamboo. A drop of rain. The frog wiped its forehead with his wrist. Come on, owl. Come on, change that look of yours, now in the soft spring rain. Stillness, the sound of the petals sifting down together. The bat lives hidden under the broken umbrella. The puppy is asleep, biting the willow tree. Ha, the butterfly. It's following the person who stole the flowers. Just simply alive, both of us, I and the poppy. That's a poppy flower that he's holding in his hand. The blind sparrow hops on the flower of the evening glory. With the evening breeze, the water laps against the heron's leg. On how to sing, the frog school and the skylark school are arguing. The moon in the water turned a somersault and floated away. How lovely, through the torn paper window, the Milky Way. The nightingales sing in the echo of the bell tolled at evening. A giant firefly, that way, this way, that way, this, and it passes by. And that's the end. And these are all poems that were written by people who were just out in gardens observing nature. You could try to do that too. If you end up finding yourself in a garden or just on a nature walk, just think about the things you see. And maybe when you get home, you can get your parents to write them down, or you can draw pictures of them to keep track of the things that you've done and the things that you've seen. Happy Wednesday again. Miss you. Love you guys. I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.